It's hard to believe it's been a year. Y'all look great. No ugly people in the room at all. Everybody looks great. How many new folks were not here last year? All right. Got some fresh meat. I love it. Got some folks I'm going to pick on. I see a lot of familiar faces. What's up, cuz? And it's just great to be back. I got a great speech. The speech this year is called the Essence of Greatness. The Essence of What makes you great? That's what I'm interested in. I don't want to just lose the weight. I want to keep the weight off, if y'all remember from last year. I've gone from 404 pounds down to 320, still have 120 to go. Here's the problem. If I follow American culture, I'll stop at 320, stay fat and happy, and go back up. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to get carried away with my own press clippings. Are you hearing what I'm saying? I don't want to rest on last year's award, outstanding person of the year in your field, or outstanding great person in 1999, and I'm still holding on to that. I want to continue to be great, and not because I'm on an ego trip. Ego is the anesthesia that deadens the pain of stupidity. How you doing, sir? I'm simply looking at you. I'm not making up. How are you, Brother Moore? You look like you're getting ready to go preach somewhere, brother. Ego is the anesthesia that deadens the pain of stupidity. Pride is the burden of a foolish person. The goal, since you're in the people business, is to be the best person you can be. And then the professionalism will follow that. Are you hearing what I'm saying? So what makes the great great? The essence of greatness. That's what we're talking about this morning. But I need to recap, because I bet a lot of you can't remember a lot of what I said last year. So I want to take a few moments and recap, and I want everybody with a pen, pencil, and a piece of paper right now. Come on, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's move. Now, why would some of you come to a meeting without a pencil and a piece of paper? I was the character coach for 12 years. I know I'm in Florida country. But we play a little football down in Texas also. And I was the character coach for our football team at Texas A&M for 12 years. And those guys would come into meetings, no pencil, no paper, trying to remember things. Let me just remind you of this, especially as you're dealing with people. Look up, everyone. 50% of what you hear, you forget. Just like that, of the remaining 50%, you lose 38% over the next 24 hours. May I say that again? 50% of what you hear, you forget. Just like that. Hi, miss. Of the remaining 50%, you lose 38% over the next 24 hours unless you massage that information in some kind of way. Even in the Bible, it says in Habakkuk, write it down, make a permanent record of it. Don't depend on this to remember things. That's foolish. That's arrogant. Write things down. So if somebody is going to speak for an hour, there might be one good thought I might give you this morning, but make sure you write it down. First thing we want to write down is the topic of today. Sir, what is the topic of today? Exactly my point. You see there? Come on, Omar, wake up. Wake up. By the way, nice toupee. It looks really, doesn't it look natural? Doesn't it look natural? This row right here, I'm going to get you. Especially you. You're the new one, the young one. You're in. What's the topic? Greatness. Greatness. Come on, give me the full topic. Yes, ma'am. Essence of greatness. Essence of greatness. You're flying a plane. Which way are we going? Left? No! Have a coordinate. Essence of greatness. Say it with me. Essence of greatness. Everyone, say it. Essence of greatness. Let me ask you a question. Who's happy with their current status in life right now? Let me make that more specific, because I think a lot of us are. Who would like to see more improvement in their lives right now? That's a better way to say it. I know I would. That's what we're talking about. Hi, welcome, folks. Good to see you. Alarm clock issues? Got time problems? We're okay? All right, no problem. All right. Just walk in. It's okay. Nobody even noticed.
I promised my wife to listen to you today.
All right. And you're the wife? Awesome. Were y'all here last year? Well, welcome. Welcome back. You cannot argue with a man who's listening to his wife, right, ladies? You got all my love and support. Hey, because I'm going to be honest with you. If mommy ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. If daddy ain't happy, don't nobody care. And so it's all about you being happy. What's it? Beaver Cleaver? What's it? I'm going to work them today. What's our topic? The essence of greatness. The essence of greatness. Let's do a recap for those that were not here last year, and for those of you that were here. I only want to take just 5 minutes and recap what we talked about last year. The key word last year was impact. Remember? Impact. How do you make an impact? How do you make an impact when you're leading your teams, or many of you functioning individually? How do you make an impact? You really want to do a great job. You don't get a lot of praise, as I recall. You don't get a lot of recognition. I went back to my staff list year and said 2 things. These are some of the nicest folks I've ever met, and this is one of the toughest jobs I've ever seen. How do you make an impact as a dispute resolution manager? And remember, I shared with you the wisdom from my father. Wisdom from an uneducated man. How many of you know a textbook will only take you so far? Let me restate that I am Dr. Rick Rigsby, PhD, and I'm telling you a textbook will only take you so far. But at some point in your life, you've got to turn to experience. I said at some point in your life, you've got to reclaim the hand of a grandmother or a grandfather. How many of you would say you have wise parents or had wise parents? Raise your hands. How about wise grandparents? A wise grandmother, anybody? Big Mama, Medea, whatever you call it, May, Shua Bell, whatever she would, all right? And here's a great concern as just a side. We are exploding down that information superhighway, and it's exciting. But here's my great concern, particularly after teaching great young people the last 20 years at different colleges, last 14 at A&M. Great school. Here's my concern. In terms of common sense, we are eroding like you cannot believe, folks. Y'all see it, don't you? You see it in services. My brother's a colonel, and he sees it. He sees it in the Army. We see it in, he's also an attorney. He's a judge. He sees it in the legal field. We see it in every aspect of life. I have a friend that's a physician. He just hired a nurse that can't even write orders. We're just seeing common sense erode. And that's why I really begged you last year, hold on to the values of that mentor that's on the inside. And my lessons that my father taught, I think, are universal enough to where they might be applicable to your lives. Here they are real quickly. My father simply taught me these, and many of you will remember. Son, kind deeds are never lost. Be kind to people. Just be kind to folks. Kind deeds are never lost. As a matter of fact, I'll be very honest with you. The more kind you are, the more opportunities fall at your feet. Number 2, don't judge people. Remember that one? Just don't judge folks. Remember, you're in the people business. Your great privilege, your calling is to help them, not to judge them. My father was born in the midst of Jim Crowism. My father was born in Texas as Texas was still breathing the last gasp of the Civil War. My father had to get off a sidewalk to allow a man of another color to walk on the sidewalk. And yet, he reared his boys by saying, that was history. This is now, don't judge. That's the kind of mentor that I had. I want to tell you something. When you judge others, I didn't say evaluate. I said when you prematurely judge based on exterior things, it takes you off track. How many of you know in football the whole goal is to distract you so that I can maintain control of the line of scrimmage? And I will do anything to get you off track. I had a friend named John Randall. Anybody remember John Randall? Used to play for Minnesota. John would love to talk about a man's wife, mother, girlfriend, mistress, you fill in the blank. And, you know, his whole goal was to get that person off track. Well, when you distract people, when you judge people, you are literally providing a distraction for yourself that really is counterproductive to you impacting them. Also, may I say this? When you judge people, you're not really developing your influence, the kind of influence you're going to need to take them places they will not go on their own. John Maxwell is an interesting name for you to note right now. Anyone familiar with his leadership work, raise your hands. John Maxwell is prolific in the area of leadership. And John Maxwell says leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. Your ability to influence people within the sphere of your periphery. Influence. So the critical question becomes, what can I do every single day to grow my influence so that when I'm on the phone trying to resolve, when I'm face to face trying to resolve, I'm not worried or focused on a lot of things that don't matter, but I'm focused on growing my personal influence so that I'll make an impact. Well, I had a daddy, a third grade dropout, who said, here's how you grow influence. You don't judge. Second, you're kind. Third, you help people. You go out of your way to make sure your servant's towel is larger than anyone else's. As a matter of fact, I try to make it my business to make sure that my servant's towel is larger than my ego. It's just not a bad way to go through life. Y'all know what I'm saying? I am much more of a help to people when I can get over myself. How many of you have found that to be true? You just realize that your whole goal is to help people. I remember once I got huffy. Here I am, the character coach at a major university, and I'm being used by these coaches for recruiting. And I'm just figuring that I'm just window dressing, being used to get these recruits in. And my mom and dad come visit Norm from San Francisco, where I was reared. They come to Texas. And my daddy goes, son, how's that job going? And I just let my dad have it. I'm being used. It's nothing but window dressing. He said, son, you know what? I've taken a look at your media guide. Y'all have 102 football players, most of them on scholarship. Son, it sounds to me like you're focusing on the wrong thing. You need to be helping those kids and not focused on yourself. It's entire, watch this, put your pencils down. Wow, that was great. Listen to me very carefully. Listen, please, I'm begging you to listen to this. It is entirely possible in this superficial, shallow, entertainment-crazed era of ours to get so carried away with what we look like, where we live, what we drive, what we adorn ourselves with. It's entirely possible to become so consumed with image that we cease helping other people. Many of your folks work themselves to the bone. I guarantee you. Many of the folks in here, I bet you they had 2 jobs, but they never ceased to help somebody in need. We've lost that value in one generation. So don't just go back and be the government employee or the civilian who solves resolution because it's your job. Look way beyond the parameters of your job and say, you know what? I am privileged to be alive. My goal is to enhance humankind this day. With my words, with my thoughts, with my actions, I'm going to make a difference. That's what a third grade dropout taught me. He also taught me this. In addition to those that I've mentioned, he said, son, if you're going to do a job, remember this one? Do it right. I had somebody come up to me before we even started today, and he quoted me what I quoted y'all last year. Good enough isn't good enough if it can be better. Better isn't good enough if it can be best. Now, for some money, raise your hands if you remember who said that. Here, let me see what I got. 20, 40, 60, 80. For $1. Who can remember? Who said it? Norm Jacobson, you're close, but not quite. Who said it originally? See there? 50% of what you hear, you forget, just like that. Of the remaining 50%, you lose 38% for the next 24 hours. Little boy growing up in Los Angeles, couldn't play baseball. Mother couldn't afford to buy him a glove. Remember the story? He eventually plays for the San Diego Padres. In fact, last night he threw out the first ball. Eventually plays for the St. Louis Cardinals. Told all his life what a lousy hitter he was, but he was a great shortstop. That's right. 6 years ago, Ozzie Smith walked into the Hall of Fame, said, quote, all my life I've been told what I could not do, but I pursued excellence and I was guided by one motto. Good enough isn't good enough if it can be better. You need to write this down. I said, good enough isn't good enough if it can be better. Better isn't good enough if it can be best. Write it down. Write it down, sir. Good enough isn't good enough if it can be better. Better isn't good enough if it can be best. Good enough isn't good enough if it can be better. Better isn't good enough if it can be best. Folks, let me tell you something. Hurry up and write that down. We got it? Everybody look up. I'm going to leave this dollar out. I'm going to give you another opportunity to win some more money. I might even sweeten the pot. Look up, everyone. Good enough isn't good enough if it can be. You look smart, sir. Stand up. You, stand up quickly. You look smart. Nice and loud, Captain. 1, 2, 3.
Good enough isn't good enough, it could be better. Better isn't good enough if it could be best.
Good God Almighty. Look at that brother. Go ahead, baby. Way to go. Good enough isn't good enough if it can be. Better isn't good enough if it can be. Good enough isn't good enough if it can be. Better isn't good enough if it can be. Every single day. I feel like a judge in front of a jury. Every single day. You ought to ask yourself, how can I improve? How can I make excellence dominant, prominent, preeminent, zenith, number one, top drawer, central core in my life? What can I do today to improve just a little bit more? Listen to me carefully. In our westernized culture, we tend to rest on our laurels. Did you hear that? You know what the presupposition of this speech is? Now we're going to transition into the essence of greatness. Here's the presupposition of this speech. As I do chapel services in the NFL, and as I visit the PGA and other major league clubhouses, I've discovered something interesting. I've discovered that most of the athletes on the professional level are very good, but only a few are great. Oh, we got to talk about that. I said we have to talk about that. Why is it in this room? Well, we won't use this room. But why is it? Because I know we're all great in here, right? Even if you don't think you're great, you better act like you're great. I had a mother that used to say, if you think you can or if you think you can't, you're right. Think about that. Think about that. Boy, I would come home. I'm going to get back to this great thing in a moment. I would come home so many times upset because the kids made fun of the way I talked. I used to talk rather proper. I grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area in the hood. I'm talking about the hood. Everybody know what I'm talking? I'm not talking about your neighborhood, Beaver. I'm talking about the hood. Talking like this, the way I talk. And my mother said, that's a gift, son. That's a gift. And one day, you're gonna use that gift. And she was right. If you think you can or if you think you can't, you're right. So even if you don't feel great, I said, even if you don't look great, keep saying to yourself, I am privileged to be alive. This is a great day, and I'm going to be great and be my best. Look at me. You'll change somebody's life. Oh, it'll just be resolution on the surface. But trust me, you will change somebody's outlook. You will change their attitude. You will change their lives. I am so privileged to be in the life-changing business, y'all. And it's all about attitude. Has nothing to do with my degrees or the books or the engagements. Has everything to do with the way I wake up and the attitude I choose for that day. Are y'all hearing what I'm saying? I can be either a ghetto dweller or I can be on the mountaintop singing, I believe I can fly. I feel like singing today, girl. I better stay focused, huh? Whew. So many good players, very good players, so few great. And I argue that those professional ranks reflect really every quadrant of American culture. So many really good professionals, so few great. So here we go with the essence of greatness. I want you to just to consider a couple of reasons perhaps why we don't have everybody functioning in a level of greatness. And I would make two arguments to begin. Argument number one, our culture reinforces mediocrity. Our culture forces us, I shouldn't say that, it fosters mediocrity. Can somebody give me an example of how our culture fosters mediocrity? Anybody give me an example? Yes, sir. No, go ahead. Were you going to say something?
No, she
Oh.
said NSPS, and I was
Wait, what did you say, ma'am?
It was an inside joke.
Oh. Oh, thanks a lot.
I'm sorry, the NSPS is the personnel system of which most of us are still under, and it was kind of a sarcastic.
Oh, okay, okay. Oh, I got you. I got you.
Fosters mediocrity.
Oh, it's not good. But so y'all got it though, right? Even though I am totally clueless, y'all got it. Yes, ma'am.
School system.
Oh, I was hoping somebody would say our school system. Hey, guess what? You can get a gold star just for going potty. I hope I'm not offending anybody. Guess what? You can get a pat on the back for staying awake during class. Guess what? If you don't shoot anybody in high school, you'll get a red ribbon. Where's it going to stop? Is that where you were on your way, ma'am? I just kind of took it and ran because I really believe you're right. We reward mediocrity. Listen to me, please listen to me. Say I'm listening. Anytime a society, if you don't believe me, just do a cursory study of history. Anytime a society is driven by its cultural base, entertainment, there is going to be such a degree of mediocrity, the likes of which you've never seen. That's America. Television is on in the average American home 8 hours a day. 8 hours a day. I just read in the New York Times that people between the ages of 10 and 20 text message more than they sleep. They text message more hours per day than they sleep. Don't blame the technology. The culture that we live in tells us, shows us that you don't have to be a great person, just look like you're great. As a matter of fact, here's the way it sounds in business. Just interview well. If you just show and interview well, you got the job. That's all you have to do. We'll provide the references. I'll write you a letter. We'll make a contact. Just interview well. And so in a 100-year period, and I would argue the last 50 years, we've made a very subtle shift in our culture from doing good to looking good. And that shift has been exacerbated by televisual images that place us at the center of our own universe. And when you have that kind of lethal combination, you have a reduction of efficiency and effectiveness. And all you have to do is look all around society, and you see a whole bunch of good-looking people functioning at a very mediocre level. Friends, I'm very, very concerned. Very concerned. Now, how do you reverse that trend? Look at me. One person at a time. One person at a time saying, I will commit to being my mother's son. I will commit to being my mother's daughter. In other words, I will commit to doing excellent work. Excellent work doesn't mean finishing fast. If you deal in Asian cultures, excellent work may not even mean finishing. But every day, I will commit to doing excellent work, doing little things every single day to commit to excellence. So, in review, I think one of the reasons that we have many really good people and few really great people, let me rephrase that. I feel like one of the reasons why many folks participate in goodness as opposed to greatness is, number one, this vain existence to be average. Number two, an overstressing of talent. An overstressing of talent. The greatest professional players I know sometimes have the least amount of talent. Now, that should rock your world. I think that in a superficial society, think about a relationship. In a superficial relationship, you tend to overcompensate. Just break it down on an individual level. If you're insecure, look at me. If you're insecure about something, you will tend to overcompensate to cover that insecurity. Does that make sense? I'll use my own example. Being heavy all my life, I would tend to overcompensate in other areas to cover the insecurity that heaviness introduced to my life, and had to regain mental health. We live in a culture that is constantly overcompensating because we have strayed away from our values of decency, common sense, hard work, helping people, being honest, being forthright. Because listen, is this making sense, anyone? Because we've strayed away from these people skills that were common to our grandparents. We struggle on the job, but this is what we've convinced ourselves of. As long as we look good, get some honors, have some achievement, we'll be fulfilled. It's called the Great American Success Myth. It basically goes like this: achievement equals fulfillment. How many of you know that's not right? How many of you know there are rich people committing suicide every single day? Achievement doesn't equate to fulfillment, does it? Relationships fulfill you. Well, if you're in the people business, I've got good news. The good news is, by reestablishing great relational skills within you, it enhances your ability to influence people, will make you want to be the kind of person that you've always wanted to be on a daily basis, where you worry less about your appearance and worry more about helping other people. So, in review, just to get us to the essence of greatness. Last year we talked about making an impact. I shared with you some of the lessons I learned from a third grade dropout. This year we're talking about the essence of greatness. As I see it, there are two barriers that stop most of us from performing at a great level. Barrier number one, what is it? Culture reinforces mediocrity. Very good. Barrier number two, an overstressing of talent. If I can just learn to talk, if I can just learn to pontificate with an ecclesiastical excellence, I'll pass muster. If I can out-reason you with words or with thought, if I can outdress you, if I can outshine you, then I will be acceptable in my own mind and okay to my colleagues. And so it's a cultural cover-up of an insecurity brought on by a departure from that which we know to be truly satisfying and fulfilling. And that is the values that keep us on the straight and cause us to be better. Are y'all with me? I heard Irving Berlin say talent is only a starting point. You've got to keep working with talent. John Maxwell wrote a book titled Talent is Never Enough. Can I just share with you just a couple thoughts? Write down one that frosts your flakes, if you don't mind. These are just some points that he wrote in his book, Talent is Never Enough. That you have to have more than just talent. For example, you have to have belief. He argues belief lifts your talent. Passion energizes your talent. Focus directs your talent. Preparation positions your talent. You know, I'd like to go slower so y'all can write those down. Would y'all benefit by that? Because I see y'all going, what did the Negro just say? Belief lifts your talent. You don't have to write the whole sentence, by the way, just like belief lifts. Passion energizes. You don't have to write your talent, miss. Okay. How you doing, cutie? Initiative activates your talent. Let's throw another one on you. How come you're not writing, sir?
I was listening. I can't write and listen, but I'm listening to you. I got my ink.
Now listen to me, Bishop Jakes. Listen to me. Listen to me, Michael Strahan. Write it down. Come on, Bishop Jakes. Listen to me now. Belief lifts your talent. Passion energizes your talent. Initiative activates your talent. Focus directs your talent. Focus directs. Preparation positions. Boy, I really like this next one. I'm sorry. Preparation positions. Get this next one down. Practice sharpens. I need to just stop there. Did he say practice sharpens your talent? Aristotle. How many of you have heard of Aristotle? Who is Aristotle's teacher? And who is Plato's teacher? Very good. My students in Western thought, where we start with Corax and Tisius in 467 BC and work our way up to the current presidential administration, merely some 2,500 years of history, they can never remember who came first. So I call Aristotle and Socrates and Plato the Spa brothers. For you, if you take their first letter of their names in the order that they appear historically, it creates spa. S-P-A. Hot tub. Good God. The water's hot. You obviously don't remember that reference. It was Saturday Night Live, Eddie Murphy. Aristotle said, here's what I want you to remember though. Aristotle said this, and I want you to listen first, and then I really want you to write it down. Even you, Bishop Jakes. All right. Look up and listen first. Oh, I love this. You are what you repeatedly do. Therefore, excellence ought to be a habit, not an act. Right. That's good stuff right there. You are what you repeatedly do. Therefore, excellence ought to be a habit, not an act. Man, if I could just remember this one. You are what you repeatedly do. Therefore, excellence ought to be a habit, not an act. Are you writing this?
I'm making sure he has
No.
You in trouble?
it. I take the mental note, put it on paper. We got it. Go ahead, go ahead.
Excuse me. No, pardon me. Excuse me. Excuse me. Stand up. Stand up. What's your name?
Floyd.
Your rank?
Tech.
Tech Floyd or like
Tech Floyd.
This is Tech Floyd, everyone. Can y'all say good morning to Tech Floyd? No, stand up, girl. Can y'all say good morning to Tech Floyd? I'm going to give Tech Floyd a pop quiz. What is the title of last year's speech?
Impact.
Right now you're at a C. No, don't let go of my hand.
C create president.
Wait. Can I have your hand, please?
Okay.
What is the title of today's talk?
The essence of greatness.
Oh, now you're at an A. Now, for the money. Aristotle's comment on excellence, $20. Watch this. See what I'm saying? Who has a pencil and some paper that you can give Tech? Who has some paper and a pencil that you can give her? I'm not going on until she takes notes. $20 could have been hers. That's a 3-piece at Popeyes. Do you have your jet? Thank you, sir. Tech Floyd. You are what you... I want to make this point. And Tech Floyd is just the perfect person to make it. You know, I appreciate you. And you have nice, soft hands, too, ma'am. Here's the point. You are what you repeatedly do. Therefore, excellence ought to be not an act. Now, watch this. I want to make a point at Tech Floyd's expense. When you do the same thing over and over and over and expect different results, that is defined as insanity. So you can't come to a public meeting without something to write on, hoping that the person next to you, no offense, will write everything down. Because he may not. He may be thinking about his date last night. Probably not. But anyway. But you have to assume responsibility for yourself. Tech, give me that definition of Aristotle again. No, look at me. You're going to know this. You are what you repeatedly do. Therefore, excellence ought be a habit. Write it down, Tech. I'm going to come to you in a few minutes. You better be ready. I'm going to come into you in a few minutes. So does that make this teaching point really clear? That your talent, you have to practice, sharpens your talent. I said, how many of you wives would say your husband needs to practice listening? Oh, only 6 of you. Great husbands. You're not the only one. Is there something that you can practice in here? Is there something in your life right now that you need to work on? For some of you, it might be completing the sentences that are actually forming in your mind before you speak. For some of you, it may be holding a confidence. For some of you, it may be something very personal that would be inappropriate to discuss in a room this size. But for every one of us, there is something. It's not just Tech Floyd. Don't think that. It's every one of us. You know what amazes me? Tiger gets caught doing whatever he does, and everybody else gets really self-righteous. Now, I'm going to tell you something. You don't want anybody to know the secrets in your closet.
Right.
I don't want y'all to know mine. Are you hearing what I'm saying? It's not up to me to judge that man. It's not up to me to judge that person. My point is this, folks. Work on the stuff you need to work on. Does that make sense? Work on the stuff you need to work on. You need to work on. Trust me, as perfect as you are, you probably got enough material to work with for a lifetime. Am I being honest? Just work on what you need to work on. So I really like this one. I really like this one. Let me just hit a couple more. Let me recap. Oh, I'm sorry, Tech Floyd. Aristotle said, he said, no, Tech Floyd. Say it with confidence. You are what you repeatedly do. There you go. There you go. Come on. Come on. Oh, you got me dancing, girl. Oh, you got me dancing, girl. Oh, whip me, Norm. Whip me, Norm.